On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
If you're heading in the right direction, keep going, or pick that one hat that you think would be the easiest to get rid of and try to get rid of it.
You are listening to Gathering the Kings with Chaz Wolfe, featuring fellow 7, 8, and even 9-figure business owners who have real battle scars from business and life, but have prevailed as the king that they are designed to be. We welcome high-performing entrepreneurs to the stage in order to reveal the real of the real on what it takes to build a successful business today. We dissect the good and bad decisions they've made along the way that give a true and accurate picture of the journey of success and how you too can get there. Through this dialogue, you will learn the value of growing your network and surrounding yourself with power players and kings like today's guest. Grab your pen and notebook because we're about to dive in.
What's up, everybody? Chaz Wolfe, Gathering the Kings podcast. I got Mr. Patrick Walker on the King stage today. My man, how you doing today?
I am doing excellent, and thanks for having me.
Of course. Yes, we appreciate you just carving out a little bit of your time. You're in an industry, honestly, that I have not yet had on the show. So I'm excited to kind of dig in here because, man, this industry has been high highs and low lows in the last little bits. And so I'm excited for you to be able to share some of those losses, wins, victories, struggles, the whole deal. So Patrick, tell us what kind of business that you have.
I have a brick and mortar travel agency. Yes, we still exist. There are not a lot of us out there, but we are here. Something people don't know, it's actually a free service. If you go to Cruise Line X, it costs you $5,000. If you come to me, it'll actually probably be less because I know the tips and tricks and all that cost you nothing, and the cruise line gives me a little kickback. So it's a good win-win for everybody.
Yeah, so it's almost like group purchasing in that way, where you don't, it's free for the customer, but you have an agreement with the folks that you're booking travel through.
Correct.
That's amazing. I love that concept. It is difficult sometimes for the folks that I know with that same business model, not in travel, of course, but the same business model, to like break through to their customers that it doesn't actually cost them anything. Do you find the same thing in your industry?
Oh yeah. And then some of them get it that have done travel for a while, but the people are new to it. They're like, no, I don't quite understand. Or they think it's like I have inventory, and they said, well, how about a little discount? And I'm like, it's like an Apple Watch. It's $399. It's $399. It's $399. Unless I have some group power behind me, and so then sometimes it's actually less. But
right. Yeah, it's not like you've prepackaged, 10 trips to the Bahamas that you're trying to now sell.
Correct.
Very cool. Okay, so before we kind of get into your story and the backdrop a little bit here, I want to know at this level, I mean, because, from my understanding, you're crushing it. From some of the notes that I've seen that my team has left for me, not only have you been crushing it, but you've been continuing to crush it, especially the last couple of years. So you're at this certain level of success, and you're still doing it. Why?
Well, one, everything's tied up in it. I have to, but it kind of gets in your blood, the business side of it and the travel. It's a phenomenal, fun industry. Other industries are necessary. They're just not as fun. So I get to sell fun. So it's a good situation to be in. And it opened up a world of stuff. I didn't know there was stuff out there. I kind of jumped into it blind. So there's just a whole world out there, literally.
Yeah. That took me a second to wrap my head around what you just said there, because there literally is a whole world. I love it. Okay, so tell us the story. How, not just this business, or was this the first business? I know that you kind of did some interviewing, looking around a little bit. This is kind of what you landed on. Tell us the story.
Oh yeah, no business experience and pretty much no travel experience. We had a large family, military, so our travel was kind of where we lived. So
sure, yeah.
I went to a franchise expo and I liked our logo, and here I am.
That's kind of like how, the one wife randomly picked the final four based on the mascots. Is that kind of the same thing?
Yep.
So you like the logo, you go over to their booth, you ask for more information, or they call you. How, give us a little bit of story.
I walked up to the booth and I'm like, that's a really cool logo. It's a ship compass rose combination, and he's like, yeah, we're a travel agency. I'm like, well, that's dumb. The internet's going to kill you. He said, just because you said that, here, take this. I won't talk to you now. Go home, read it, and then call me back. And so here I am.
Wow. Okay. Wow. There's obviously a lot that happened, but I want to back up for half a second. You showed up to this event or this showroom of sorts. It's like what was it?
It was actually a virtual expo. You take a
Okay.
little emoji and you walk around, and you turn and look at a booth and you go to the next one. I had some criteria. I didn't want to have to deal with teenagers as far as hiring and firing.
Okay. Yeah.
The whole avoid conflict thing. So, fast food was probably out.
Yep. Yep.
And I didn't even have to own my own business. It was just one of the things I was looking into.
Sure.
And I took that prospectus home, read it, didn't believe the numbers, Googled it, researched it. I'm like, hey, these guys are telling the truth. And did more due diligence, and here I am.
Wow. Okay. So in that moment, I want to go back to that, what you just said there, because I would have thought you were showing up to this, franchise event to like, okay, which one am I going to go with? But it sounds like that was an option, but you said I didn't even have to own my own business. Tell us about that. What was going through your brain?
Yeah, I'm not that guy that I don't mind working for somebody else. I don't mind making people coffee. But I wanted it, and it's always been in the back of my head to own your own business would be kind of cool. So I went there without having to go.
Yeah,
that's probably put me in a better place, because then I didn't force the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And so do you think that's a, like, how you were raised or personality? Cause like entrepreneurialism is obviously very unique.
Right.
It's not designed for everybody, but you're kind of coming from the other side of the tracks a little bit, saying like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm crushing it, but maybe I'm not like the traditional entrepreneurial thinker.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. My dad was very, very laid back. I am. So I don't know if it's an internal trait or I caught it from him.
Sure.
But man, don't get me wrong. I want to make money. I want to crush it, but I don't have to be the number one in the country. If I'm making good money and the other guy's making more, good for him.
Right. Yeah. I kind of take that as like, it's not that you don't want to win,
Right.
but you know how to take a good loss also, that you know the reality of the situation and how to be strategic in the situation and not be emotional about not being number one if you aren't number one. That's kind of how I take it. I don't know. Right. You want to add anything to that?
I don't know, but I do kind of have my eyes set on the top 10 in the country. We're knocking on that door. So I guess I got a little bit in me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love everything that you just said, which is I can still be goal oriented. I can still want to crush it, but maybe I've got a little different personality. I think it opens it up to, the listeners here that, cause it's very different from my profile. My profile is, like there's no grass underneath the feet, I'm pushing mindset. Like it's a little bit crazy over here,
Right.
But that's okay. Like we don't have to be the same person in order to be successful in business. I love that perspective. Right. Okay. Well, so you get started in the early years, early on. I want to know, like before you're crushing, doing millions, I want to know a good decision that you made inside the business that you can look back on now and be like, that was a turning point for us.
So that's a little easy since I had no clue what I was doing. One of the books, the E-Myth, follow the plan. It's a franchise, follow the plan. I should be open 5 days a week, 9 to 5. Well, I know when I'm going to be open.
Right.
I need to make X phone calls a week. Well, I'm going to make X phone calls a week. So part of it was not knowing what I was doing actually helped me, because here's the plan, follow it.
Right. And you're just simple enough to go, okay, I'll do it.
Well, so there was pushback. I'm like, I disagree with that, but you took my money to give me the plan book. There's reasons they give you that plan book.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's interesting from a franchise perspective. So we're kind of a little bit out of the, I kind of see this as two things, like, one being coachable, listening. Cause I that's what I'm hearing you say. You read the ebook, the E-Myth, which is a fantastic book. And you said, okay, great. I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm just coachable. I'm just going to follow the script. But being a franchise owner myself now, like you, I know that there are moments where I'm like, I don't think that's the best.
Totally agree.
Talk about that just from an angle of like, whether it's frustrating or like you kind of skirt the system sometimes, like just give us some of the inside of the doing your own thing.
Well, marketing is a big one. They say, the print media flyers, and I, just have a hard time with that. So I kind of did a little bit of both. I didn't quite do the numbers they suggested, and I tried other stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously social media is huge in our industry because the travel has pretty pictures, and pretty pictures work well with social media.
That's right. That's right. And so do you like inside of the organization, are you kind of like an outlier, a little black sheep in that regard, where you're kind of off doing your own thing on social media, nobody else is doing it?
Oh no, it's we always talk. We're always trying. Corporate's always trying to rein us back in and say go down this path. But they encourage creativity. They do a really good job of that. And when you win, they want to know and pass that to everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's obviously a cool part about having a system or a network, especially if they do allow for some creativity and trying different things, because sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they need to be taken out back, as Mr. Wonderful says from Shark Tank, and shot, Okay, so the idea there, or the good decision, was to just, kind of follow the script.
Mm-hmm.
Got the book. Anything specific from that script, as we're calling it, or the plan that really worked for you, that was like, wow, like because I listened to this, it really put things in motion for me?
No, I mean, kind of the whole package deal. There's not one particular thing that it stands out.
Okay. And so from the E-Myth, I'm thinking like, you have a mindset, you're building a team, you're kind of putting people in place. You obviously have a pretty large team now. Anything that you want to share there that those things have like helped you build the team? I'm just kind of looking for maybe a nugget or something that the listener can grab onto.
Currently, yeah. Now I had to go back and reread it. I quit building the team. Selling travel is fun. During COVID, it was a lot of time, it was just me and not the team. So I became a salesman, a technician, from the book.
Right.
So I'm
out of necessity.
I'm smack dab in the middle of needing to go from a salesman to a business owner. And that's my current fun struggle that I'm going through.
Yeah. Yeah. We call in Gathering the Kings, we call it the warrior to king transition. And it's the same, right? Because the warrior's in the battle every day, got blood on the sword, and the king's so valuable that he's got to sit at a position that we can see, and he can't be in the individual battle. So
yeah, I'm writing that down. That's exactly where I'm not, and I need to be.
Yeah. Well, I love the acknowledgement that that you're on this journey. I'd love to know a bad decision that you made somewhere in there. Like, give us the juicy details. Give us a story, Patrick. Come on.
Sliding into 100% sales, not leading the team, neglecting them, not out of being a negative. It's just fun to sell travel.
Yeah.
And it's hard to give up a lead if I'm the one that answered the phone.
Sure. Yeah. And so what I heard you say goes back to the technician. You're in the seat and you like it.
Yeah. So that would have been the bad decision. That one, at first it started off necessity. I'm the only team here, so you had to do that. Then that becomes fun. Then you get good at it.
Yep.
Then the team slowly builds and you don't realize you're not doing that. So if I would have started building the team and coaching earlier instead of just realizing it in the last year, that would have been I think growth would have been happening faster.
Sure. Yeah. And to be specific here, obviously, because there's a lot of listeners, I mean, they're all different types of businesses listening, but I think that a lot of entrepreneurs do lend toward people and having conversations, which often then puts them in the seat of a salesperson, whether they know sales or not, or have this history. Especially if you do have a history, then you're automatically go to that seat, And so what I'm hearing you say is that you stayed in the seat too long. Mm-hmm. And if you had gotten out of the seat, replaced somebody else, is that you kind of mentioned that because it was fun. It partially in there. Did you think like that maybe I'm good and I don't know if I can bring anybody else on, like maybe trust issue, anything like that?
No, I did not have that. I've always been willing to bring people on. Okay. Maybe since I liked it, I didn't search for it or push it as hard as I was supposed to. But yeah, if my office door is open and somebody's selling, I can't. I have to go out there and at least listen and then hold my tongue. So it's a challenge still.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's been some very similar feelings that I've felt. I think every business owner does as we transition out of the technician, as you said, or out of the warrior stage. And we realize there's these things that we like doing or things that we've just done for so long. And I'll give you one example, almost the exact same thing for the benefit of the listener here. Just recently, even I operate a lot of email accounts. I got 8 businesses, a lot of employees, a lot of things going on. And so I just recently hired a personal assistant. I have lots of leads that take care of a lot of things. I'm a great delegator, but I just hired a personal assistant in the last year. And there were some email accounts that it's the first thing I do. I do it several times during the day. It's the last thing I do at the end of the night. Like I'm on it, like, and I'll tell you what, I've just now gotten to the point where I'm still faster than she is, meaning I see the email come, I could handle it. Right. But I know eventually when she logs in, she'll get to it and she takes care of it. And then it's good. So it's a scenario of like, I'm about to delete the email account from my phone, where you need to remove yourself from the sales floor. You have to, because you love it. You're right there. Like I would just keep doing it. I would just keep doing the email over and over, which then, although I can do it, that time could be used elsewhere. It could be in my morning routine. It could be, spending time with my kids in the afternoon or whatever it is. Same thing with you, right? Yeah, literally, bro. I'm telling you right now, game changer. But in all seriousness, it's like, we have to recognize, not only did you recognize that you were in the seat, but now you're recognizing that you have to physically remove yourself, like physically out of the way, so that they can go do their thing. You got good people on your team?
Oh man, it was awesome. Yeah. Good team. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you let them do their thing, right? Okay. I want to know from a team building perspective, you said, if I had just built a team earlier, okay, well, now you have the team now. What have you learned as you've built this team? Anything around hiring, around personalities, around putting people in different seats? I want to know that.
Everybody's not the same as me. I just like doing it. I don't need anybody to tell me I did a good job. So it's really hard for me to do recognition. I understand the power of it, but it almost feels fake when I do it since it's not me. And then I feel like I'm disingenuous.
Yep. Yeah. Delivering something that they need, but that you're not naturally wired to give.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you do it?
Well, I mean, to my shame, for the most part, I don't, but I'm getting better at it.
Sure.
Trying to actually have a notebook, real or imaginary, on each person and what works, and schedule time. I'm trying to get better at that, where I just call or email or talk to and not have an agenda, just to kind of see where it leads.
Yeah. The the opportunity to connect.
Right.
Human to human.
Right. Exactly.
It's a big deal. A lot of times in big corporations, it's obviously the difference of working for someone like us in a small business, very fast paced, quick moving, lots of changes. Someone that works in more of a corporate environment, they're a number. They know they're a number. Oh. Everybody knows they're a number. We've all been there if we worked in that environment, or we at least have heard of it. And so that's kind of like the one advantage we have being smaller, is that we can pay attention to the details, but sometimes those things get lost. I myself is just as guilty, birthdays and little calls, little texts. Hey, how are things going? Hey, I remember you saying this about your husband's blah, blah, blah. How's that going? All those things matter. What would you say around like the people that you've hired? Obviously travel is a unique space. Like, has it been difficult to hire people? Have you had to convince people that travel's good, like they had to convince you that travel was good,
Well, they're all independent contractors, and this industry kind of gathers people that have been successful in other stuff, and they're leaving the hustle and bustle, but they're not ready to get out of the game. So that's good and bad, because they can work as little or as much as they want.
Right. So you're building a team of basically salespeople, but that want to be part of the game, kind of at their level. And it doesn't attract the hardcore salesman. Right.
I joke about solar people. They're good at their job and they're salespeople. And this does not. It gathers people that are passionate about travel.
Yeah. What do you think is the struggle in gathering those types of people?
Some of them don't need it. They're not using this to pay bills. So they'll like, oh, I'll talk to you later. And then, maybe 2 years before somebody you've been talking to actually joins the team.
Right. Yeah. Not a lot of urgency.
Yeah. Now there are people that use it for their money, and they come in strong and younger, because a lot of them are older. So those are the ones that, are exciting to find, but those are few and far between. And now with the marketplace, even harder, because there's plenty of jobs out there, at least in North Texas.
Right. And so, is it a requirement for them to be there in the office, or can they work virtually?
Oh, absolutely. They can do either one. No
Okay,
requirements at all other than answering your emails from your clients.
there you go. Yeah, so you've got a nationwide opportunity, really, but you just happen to have a brick and mortar spot.
Correct. Yeah, and it's kind of fun. I mean, it's like I use that word a lot in this industry, but sitting around here, sometimes we get half a day's work because we get trapped in our mind at Bora Bora, and we're looking at pictures and seeing how the most price effective way to get us or clients there. So we go down those roads a lot.
It's interesting that you took me back to, I'm 17. I'm working at Foot Locker. I love shoes. I think I've got at that point, like, 75 pair of tennis shoes. Cause when you work at Foot Locker, you get a discount and you spend all your money on Foot Locker. And so is that the same thing with travel? Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You guys are taking trips constantly?
Oh, I've ended up becoming good friends with one of our new agents at the lady. And he's like, yeah, you've cost me more money than you've made me.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
The but if it's a passion, right? If it's an excitement, they're
going on trips that they wouldn't have done otherwise. Seeing new places. No, he said it totally jokingly. They're having a good time.
Yeah. Cause it's just fueling a different area of their life. not necessarily the pocketbook, cause they're spending it all, but okay. Well, that's great. I want to know about decision-making, kind of going back to the business here. You've obviously made a lot of decisions over the years. You've got a really, really hot little kicking business over there. When a decision comes to your desk around, like you said, maybe some different types of advertising, or maybe to, employees or whatever, is there a certain process that you go through, or maybe like a discipline?
No. And I say that pretty strongly because I want there to be, and that's part of my personal growth over the last year, just trying to become more disciplined and, oh, that's shiny, I think we should do that marketing, or
right.
Yeah. I've had that problem before, and some of them take care of themselves. You can't, the phone rings once a day for new internet. Like, well, no, there's no decision to be made on that one.
Sure.
Actually, I have your internet. Why are you calling me again?
Right. Yeah. I've had that happen. Okay. And so thinking about like, strategic decisions, that's kind of on the docket as you're continuing in this transition, in this
right.
becoming a king, as we say. So that's great. Okay. Has there been any sort of like discipline in life that you kind of just maybe you live by, that you're known by? I'm looking for a nugget here that maybe it's just like a phrase that you live by that you want to share with the listener.
Not a particular phrase, but right when COVID was starting to slow down, I realized I needed it in all aspects. I was showing up and doing the minimum. So, decided to hit the gym, hit the books again. That's kind of how I found you. Listened to Ed Mylett podcast and found this and saw this and found you.
Nice.
So kind of all aspects of my life for the last year and a half, just trying to up the game is the term I used.
There you go. I love that.
That covers all areas.
It does. It does. Yeah. And I love how you gave some examples there of some different areas of life, because it doesn't always have to be business. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs obviously we're about our business, but like, man, that translates. How you do one thing is how you do everything. I'm a big fan of excellence. And so, whether you show up at the gym, whether you're showing up for the family, whether you're showing up for your employees, that type of a thing, it makes a big difference. Oh no,
I could tell a difference within 2 weeks from starting to go back to the gym. It affected the business in a positive way and the family life.
Wow. I know, but I want you, how did it affect 2 weeks later going to the gym? Come on.
Well, it just did. You're a little depressed from, the world shutting down your business. Like basically they said, you can't make any money more, and bye. Necessary or not, it still hurt.
Big deal.
And then I'm realizing that, hey, even if it shuts down to the point where you go out of business, that you can't stop living your life. So I got to start living. Is it Tombstone, get busy living or get busy dying?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because it's one or the other, right?
Right. Truly is.
Obviously COVID, like you just said, being you were shut down, basically. Nobody was traveling. In those moments, did you think it was over?
Not at first. You're starting to circle the wagons a little bit near the end, saying if it's over, how do we protect ourselves? for the first 2/3 of it, I didn't have enough time to think too much about it because there was still a ton of work to do, just no money to be made. You had to take care of customers, rebook them, do this. There was just a ton of stuff to do.
Right.
So that kept me engaged. It kept me in front of customers, the good part. The bad part is I couldn't, go do something else till the world opened back up.
Right. Right. And so when you realized, or when did you realize that it wasn't over and that you just kind of had to, like you said, dig in?
It kind of just our corporate called and said, "Hey, you're doing a good job. Your numbers are good." I'm like, "Oh, I had no idea." In this business, if you have a good month, you don't see the reward for that for 18 months. You get paid when the customer travels. So we were just doing our thing, and I didn't know I was doing good till they called and said, "You're doing good. Do you want to talk to a small group?" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know I was doing good."
Yeah. Wow. And so that kind of gave fuel to the fire. It woke you up like.
Oh, absolutely. And how I got there, I just did the process. I didn't know I was following the process. I was taking care of customers. I was starting to take care of the team better then, just doing the daily stuff that needed to be done.
Yeah. And did you think that it was heightened because of everything that was just going on and you kind of just dialed in, or was it just, you were already on that trajectory anyway? It was going to happen whether COVID happened or not.
Yeah, I was already heading in the right direction, doing all the right stuff, or enough of the right stuff to make a difference.
Yeah. Would you say that that's kind of like, looking back, I mean, there's always the toil, right? The struggle and like the oomph to get something going, and then you hit success, and then everybody sees it and they're like, "Wow, you've always been successful," but they didn't see, all the rest. Does that mirror here? Is that likened to your story?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Well, actually, our industry was so affected. A decent amount of the customers say, "I'm glad you made it. I know it was hard," but there is some of that, "Oh, okay, you're a business owner. You always have money." I'm like, no.
If there's no revenue, there's no money.
Right. But I was getting to the point where I'm like, well, I'm going to be successful, whether I get a quote normal job or not. And I'm going to do the right things. And it timed well with the world starting to open back open. All the cruise lines started to get back in the water. So the timing was good.
Yeah, I think just in my mind, I'm thinking it's the story of an entrepreneur. Like we're digging, we're grinding, we're doing the work. As you said, I was already meeting with clients. I was already doing the things with the team. I was already, making all the right moves. You had mentally, leveled back up. You were going to the gym. You were doing your thing. You were listening to podcasts. And so, like you said, whether the world had opened back up yet or not, you were going to find a solution, because you, at that point, had kind of resoluted that, look, I'm the one that's going to solve this. So I got to bet on myself. And then that's it. Like whatever the actual thing is that gets it solved, I don't know. Right. But I'm going to head in this direction, betting on myself is kind of what I'm picking up. Is that what you're saying?
No, exactly right. Early on, you still weren't sure, if this thing had lasted 2 more years, we wouldn't have made it. So bet on yourself is not just this business only. It was, I got to be ready to take on the next thing, whatever that happens to be.
Right.
And I was still doing that when the call came and said, "You're doing good." I didn't even know that we were.
Yeah. And I can only imagine that moment of going, okay, well, all right, well, let's keep going. Like, it's got that shot in the arm and you get a second wind almost, right?
Oh no, exactly. So I think that's about when, I went from one podcast to looking for others and ran across yours.
Yeah. Well, and you up the ante, right? You push a little harder at the gym, you go a little further on the run, you listen to another podcast, whatever.
Right.
Have you ever had any of those moments that moment we're kind of describing where it's like, and it just propels you to another level? You've been doing the right things. It wasn't like the circumstance, but it was like the extra juice, that you needed. Has that ever happened to you in a different realm of life?
Oh, in a different realm of life. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, but I've been going through it for the past, 6-8 months. So I'm kind of still in the middle of it, and enjoying the ride.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what are you doing now to keep, adding on? Like, cause I've obviously motivation, inspiration, like those things are great, but they fade. Right.
Right.
How do you keep at it, and how do you keep leveling up?
Right now I'm in the searching for going from a technician to Oh, and your thing, obviously your system might sound like it's a perfect fit. Looking for the podcast or books in that realm, not just
Right.
motivation, but the technician to owner phase, looking for those books, which I haven't found. This is a fairly new process, wanting to look for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have a business coach. I thought of that. Do I go to a 3-day Tony Robbins thing?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think the listener has literally thought all these things.
Right.
Right. And so the reason why I'm kind of pressing in on this a little bit, it's not to expose that you are just now going through that. It's the fact that because you're literally going through it right now, it's probably a lot like what our listeners are thinking of, and they're thinking, man, I have some things put together, but I really don't have a lot of other things put together. And I need maybe some insight, or maybe it's a coach, or maybe it's that, or maybe it's a seminar, or all these things. And so what would you say? Because even though you're still in it, you're a few steps ahead. You've got some massive revenue in comparison to most of these guys that are listening. So you've kind of like pressed into the sales side. That's why you've got the revenue. And now you're kind of forming out the structure of the business. That's why we're talking about these things that we're talking about now. So for the guy that's listening, who maybe, he's still 6 figures, he's doing exactly what you're doing. He just doesn't have maybe as much revenue. What would you encourage him or her to do? This moment?
If you're going in the right direction, then just keep going. So I think I got a long way to go, but I think I'm going in the right direction. I'm looking for the right things. Right. Maybe I'm worried that once I get there, I've checked that box and then fade out. But right. I guess that's a different struggle. So keep going in the right direction if you're going in the right direction. If you're not, identify those areas, and it's easier said than done, but fix it.
Yeah. I love the answer. I mean, it's just so simple. I think we overcomplicate success.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, like the gym was a good example. I'm like, got the little ad in the Facebook. We need 8 men over that are 50 that want to up their game. I'm like, okay. And I went there. He said, do you want to sign up? I'm like, that's it. He said, well, I'm going to yell at you on 3 days a week. I'm like, okay. So here I am.
Yeah. And he's been yelling at me ever since. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think that whether it's the guy yelling at the gym, or the business coach, or the group, or whatever, there's lots of solutions. As you mentioned, obviously Gathering the Kings, we put a solution out there for folks. And so it's like, whatever you're looking for, you can find it. But if you're not looking,
well, that's a good point.
Not going to find anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was listening to your podcast for a little bit lately and didn't even know about the Gathering the Kings part, probably because I'm lazy. I just hit play on the podcast and don't read the thing below.
Yeah. Well, and we don't try to spam people, but the like, I'm a big fan of the person listening hears what they need. Right. And so with that being said, I'm curious to know, I mean, obviously it's been this trajectory, and we'll kind of end with some speed round questions here in a second, but I want to know, before we leave off this topic, you've been on the right track, and you're like the persistence. Just keep going. That was your answer. Just keep going. I love it. How did you, for business side, you gave us the gym, and you kind of just had to like reset. What if you have someone listening right now who's feeling defeated? They're searching, right? They're listening, but they don't really know what they're looking for, maybe, but they're defeated. They're wearing too many hats, like completely overwhelmed. What would you say to that person as far as like, just keep going? How does that sound to them?
Well, I certainly have the too many hats going on, and I still do. But I was just doing it. I finally got to where, and actually once I got used to it, it's kind of fun now because they're happy about it. I can give away clients, and I couldn't do that before.
Yeah.
And so that was one thing that was hard that I can do now. And I enjoy doing it because they get excited, and I get excited because I don't have to be on hold for 4 hours trying to get something fixed for them.
Yeah.
And I can work on the business. So advice is, if you're heading in the right direction, keep going, or pick that one hat that you think would be the easiest to get rid of and try to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's huge. For the listener, I hope that you're paying attention, because Patrick has been super vulnerable, really, about his journey. And I think that it's the same story for all of us. It's just a matter of where we are in the journey. And so I think that he's given you a bunch of really, really good stuff here. Okay, we're going to transition to the speed round. I'm going to ask you a couple questions here, different angling here. first question is, if you could dwindle your entire business down into one metric, what would it be?
Well, one I would like to track, and then this is probably cheating because this is the one everybody wants to track and nobody can, is what marketing works.
Yeah, tough.
Oh, that's really tough, especially if you lack a little bit of discipline in the numbers, diving deep into the numbers.
Right.
Another metrics I like to track is the ticket of the sale. I want to move into the larger ticket items.
Yeah.
And this smaller ticket items actually take up just as much time, sometimes more.
That's right. Right. Deal with more clients, potentially more headache for the same amount of revenue as less clients, less headache, potentially even more revenue. Okay. What book? You already mentioned the E-Myth. Is there any other book that specifically you would recommend for a six-figure business owner?
The E-Myth, if you read it at the beginning, read it again, because at the beginning I just read it because they told me I had to. And now I'm like, oh, that all makes sense. And the second one that kind of helped me, and it was right at the beginning of this new journey, was the Atomic Habits. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a great book. What was your takeaway on that book? Obviously there's lots, but what was your one takeaway?
Very simple. I mean, I guess to keep it simple, the Atomic Habits, do the little stuff.
Yeah.
Do the little stuff.
Yeah. Do the little stuff that's associated to who you are, right? Your identity.
Right. Is it from that book about, all you got to do is knock one stroke off a golf game and you raise your revenue by 30 million bucks a year if you're a pro?
Yeah. I don't remember exactly the number on it, but yeah, like that's obviously, like you said, that's the Atomic Habits. It's focusing on the little thing and then making the small adjustment. One other thing, I don't normally do this with books, but one thing I got from that book, it's a two sides of the same coin, is to make the easy things easy, the things that you want to do easy, and the bad things difficult. You put blocks, make it difficult, remove the
that's good. I got
the item from your desk, the things that you want to do, make it easy, Yeah.
I do remember now that you said that. That was definitely in my takeaways, but I'd forgotten it. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's such a powerful book. I remember I listened to it actually. And as soon as before I was done, I ordered the physical book. And as soon as it hit done, I hit repeat with the book in front of me, doing both, listening and I studied it is really what it was.
Right.
So that's good stuff. Okay. Next question is, do you intentionally network or mastermind with other entrepreneurs?
Yes. For a long time, I just did it with whoever. It was like, oh, look, I gave out 76 business cards. I got 76 and then nothing ever happens.
Right. Right.
So I got a little better and found a group that was just fun, but no business. Now I do it more strategically. I found a networking group here that's about business, about leads, but it's not so structured that it's not fun. Good group. So I do that. And then I'm in the process of doing other stuff. Obviously your program sounds like a good fit. I joined a couple of sales Facebook groups.
Yeah, that's great.
So that would count as well.
Yeah, of course. And it sounds like, I actually love how you broke it up. I've never had anybody say the difference. The difference between networking and masterminding is you're doing it under creating relationships to grow the business. It's for sales, for leads. And then obviously on the relationship side, the mastermind side is to grow you.
Right.
So that you can grow the business. Good stuff. Okay. Last question here for you, Patrick. And we'll end it with this. If you lost it all, if going back to that moment in COVID where, you were circling the wagon, if you will, and it actually just, there it all went. What would you do right now?
I joke that I deliver mail. I was in the military a long time. The government check shows up, whether you work hard or not. Not saying mail people don't work hard, but there's a little bit but I got the bug a little bit. I think I might have to find something else. Not a clue what that would be.
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't, it's funny that you bring up, the government check, because it's again, it goes back. I'm tying this back to the beginning of our conversation. It's so different from maybe what you would think of as necessarily like the entrepreneurial way of thinking. But like you said, now you got the bug. So you've seen what's possible. It'd be difficult, man. Like if you're sitting there doing the same thing every day, same check, no up and down, no challenge. You'd probably fall asleep at the wheel.
No, that's a good point. My other government job in the military was a challenge. So it's a good point about I would get bored. I do get bored easy.
Yeah. That's the entrepreneur in you going, I don't have any problems to solve.
Oh yeah. I like solving problems.
That's right. Well, Patrick, it's been incredible to have you here. I want to give you just a quick moment here. How can the listener connect with you? How can you help book our trips and our upcoming vacations and our company trips? And how can we connect with you?
Do you want me to plug actual letters, like my email address?
Yes, give it to us. Well, I want people to email you, get to your website, all the whole nine.
Okay. P Walker at expediacruises.com. Facebook is EC Frisco. And then down below, I'm sure in the chat, you'll have all my links.
Yep.
What else? I'm obviously on LinkedIn and Instagram, even though I need to get better at Instagram. The travel industry, I should be all over that. It's just beautiful places.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, the listeners can reach out. Of course, we'll put all the links below, like you said. There to know somebody who's not only crushing it, but going through the same business struggles and victories, who can also book your travel. That he's your guy. So,
no, it's taking time for yourself to plug travel in general. Taking time for yourself is big. You know, if you burn out, the extra money sitting in your bank account doesn't do much good. If you lose your health or family or whatever burnout means to you.
Yeah, no, that's huge. You're right. I've got I'm not flying anywhere, but I've got an elk hunt coming up with my dad here in a little bit, and I told my team this morning that I can see the light, the light at the end of the tunnel where I get to like shut the phone off and go to the wilderness for a couple of weeks. And
oh no, all the cruise lines do it, and I don't know if there's other ones out there, but that timer on your phone, you look up, 39 days till your cruise or your vacation. So
that's right.
That's fun.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that would, I'd be like, oh no, I only have 39 days left. I got to go fast. I got to get more done,
Right.
Anyway, Patrick, you've been incredible. We wish you nothing but success and blessing on your business, your family, all that you got your hand to.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity. I enjoyed talking with you. It's good stuff.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to Gathering the Kings. We hope you got a ton of value today and learned a thing or two about taking your business to 7 figures and beyond. If you desire more and want a community around you to help you get there, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. That's gatheringthekings.com. And I want you to apply for our next Becoming a King 90-day intensive. We are extremely exclusive by nature as a group. What that means is that we're really wanting only the entrepreneurs who take their business and targets super serious to apply. So if that's you think you got what it takes to level up your business, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com and apply. And we will see you on the other side.